America's car enthusiasts were introduced to the stellar vehicle known as the Nova. And this came by way of a cover article in Car and Driver. Now this was a British-born exotic, if exotic is what you can use. Definitely exotic in design. Developed by Richard Oakes and Phil Sayers, this was an instant hit. Now these two creators were so inundated with domestic demand that they initially ignored all the offers coming from the United States. A freaking tidal wave of offers. People were just hungry, salivating at the mouth for this. Many letters went unanswered. Offers were turned down straight up, but two tenacious car guys from California that operated a successful repair shop, Norm Rose and Cecil Robertson, would not take no for an answer. They were like a hound dog on the scent. They couldn't let it go. They were clearly aware of the great potential that the Nova would have in the United States. So, uninvitedly, trying to get some type of reaction out of these two Brits, they flew to Europe, knocking on the door. How y'all doing? We're a big couple Americans and we want your car. Any good mechanic can tell you, persistence is what pays off. And it paid off for Oakes and CC. They talked the two Brit men into taking some time off from all their busy labors there in England to come back to the big old United States and help with the launch. Due to some issues with Chevrolet and the name Nova, they changed it to Sterling. Sterling, 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 Sterling. Developing CCC, Component Cars of California, down in Lorenzo, California. 1973, the first units were kicking off the show and making history in America. CCC quickly earned a reputation for quality and genuine commitment to the kit car world. And all the builders out there, it was a tight-knit family. Family, 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 family. Because honestly, in this kit car world back in the 70s, it was shady as all beep up. You know, it was a shady business. They even releasing rap sheets with potential upgrades and fixes and just general information how to make the Nova Sterling better. In this period, the mass majority of all the Sterlings were produced, approximately 765. And this was the first run of the Sterlings, mind you, before the company changed hands in 1978. The original US Sterling was an exact copy of the European or the English Nova. Early models featured a nostril hood, while later options offered a smooth hood. Taillights came from either a Beffer CF or a TR7 Triumph. Inside, you had the choice between the edgy double pod dash, which that was the cool one, and the more flexible straight dash, which that's not the cool one. Back in 1978, the new management at CCC, led by a man named Paul Lacey, is that right? Lacey? Lacey. Lacey tried to update the Sterling for the 80s. The result was the Sovereign. Now, this model was pretty freaking awesome because it aimed to reduce assembly time. If you ever done a kit car, it's a grip load of hours. So that was brilliant on his behalf. He wanted to add some headroom and generally remodeled the design, introducing the wraparound dash, which quasi-cool. That's the quasi-cool. And it did have the awesome pop-up headlights. Mighty fine. And these headlights weren't just like refits into the body. They were actually designed and incorporated into the Sovereign, which was awesome. And on top of that, there was a longer engine compartment, so you could put a V8 in there if you want. However, one of the deal breakers was the redesigned wheel wells. They were kind of squared, kind of like the Countach, I would say. They were inspired by the Countach. So the wheel arches on the Sovereign that were inspired by the Countach, really didn't go over well with the public. Coupled with the downturn in the kit car market, very few sovereigns were actually produced. After the lukewarm reception, and I'm sure you all taking a shower that's just like, oh, that's not good. That's kind of how the reception was. CCC retired the Sovereign's name and reintroduced it as the Sterling GT back in 1983. This was a hybrid model that kept the popular functions of the Nova, Sterling, with the new, better qualities of the Sovereign, such as those awesome pop-up headlights and that groovy wraparound dash, but reverted back to the more aesthetic rounded wheel arches of the Sterling and Nova. While this was a beautiful and well-built vehicle, those production numbers were minusculous. Just around 50 cars were produced. And this was right when the market was really shifting to like replica cars, like they were turning Fieros into Ferraris. And actually, I'm such a hypocrite on this because those first gen Ferrari Fieros are awesome. The Fiero was just better for kit car building. Sterling production eventually quit right around 1992, with these molds being passed to redhead roadsters, who did produce a few more high-quality GT versions. But you know what? The Sterling story didn't end there. Rolling forward to 1996, there was an enthusiast born by the name of Mike McBride, resurrected the company under the name of Solid Sterling. Kind of like Solid Snake, I love that. Known affectionately as Mr. Sterling, he produced some awesome replacement parts and a very limited number of complete custom builds, keeping the mark alive for one more decade. Mike improved upon the target top and gave some touches to the rear end. In total, Solid Sterling produced about 7 complete cars. 2005, the torch was passed to Dave Aliberti of Pennsylvania. This guy founded the company Sterling Sports Cars and has continued to refine the vehicle and offering some exciting options. Back in 2005, they were producing a mid-engine with the WRX 2-liter, so it was kind of becoming the supercar that the Sterling always was meant to be. However, after that, there aren't really any more Sterlings being produced at this moment. However, there is a huge resurgence of the Nova. If you happen to see one of these beautiful vehicles out there, get your hands on it. They are awesome. But like I always say, I'll see you on the flip side. Until la próxima. Ciao, ciao.
Jill, I can't get into where I am yet. This thing is f***ing massive. You guys gotta get out of here, man.